One Piece live action season 2 is out. It's popping. I haven't seen this personally because, to be honest, I've watched all of One Piece, the animated one. I enjoyed season 1, I think, but from everything I've seen and heard, they've done a really good job on season 2. They've massively leveled up, and there is controversy around casting, things like that, but that's just basically just people being racist, to be fair. So Eiichiro Oda, the guy that wrote it, chose each one of the cast members himself.
Oh.
He has to sign off on them. They have to be right.
Didn't J.K. Rowling do that as well?
Potentially, I can't remember. But in general, that, from a fandom point of view, word is law. That, he in this space, he is God. Yes, there is no argument in that. If he says that person's that person, they fucking are.
Yeah.
And so far, his cast has been impeccable, and each character is really passionate and really, really good for this. And one thing I was always concerned about with the One Piece live action is how increasingly fantastical One Piece gets. From an animation point of view, no problem. But live action, the budget goes through the roof.
Yeah, of course.
And you have to do it in a slightly different way.
Otherwise you're not going to hit the expectations of what visually you should be seeing. Right?
But they've managed to do it in a really good way. From the bits and bobs I've seen of it, how they've animated certain things, I think they've done a pretty good job overall. So apart from people getting butthurt on X, which is always the case, then it's done really well, and I think it will make a shit ton of money, and it will keep going as well.
At what point in the... Is it the chapter... No, what's it called? In the...
It covers up to...
Arcs, right? That's what it's called.
Yes, so...
What arc are we at?
We're out of what's called the first arc, which is Romance Dawn, and we're into the part where... quite a few things happen. I think the timeline is different. It's a bit more sped up than
that's what I was going to
say.
say, because
the pacing's different. So
1,000 episodes, so they can't do that.
Yeah, we're about to. I think I'm not sure if season 3 builds up to what's called the Alabasta arc, which is a fairly big one. But you meet a lot of different characters from this organisation called Baroque Works, and there's like Mr. 1, Mr. 2, Mr. 3, and all this mysterious organisation. One Piece is extremely hard to explain out of context. I ain't gonna hold you.
Well, this is what's going to be clipped as, so you got to do your best here,
and
sir.
Considering I haven't seen how they paced it personally, I need to actually sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
I think...
Do they add things, or is there like, wait a minute, this wasn't in the anime or the manga? Like, what's going on?
I mean,
here?
they kind of did it already. So if you look at the manga is a lot more streamlined, and certain like character tropes from the anime isn't in there. So the anime has lots of little extra moments here and there. Yeah. That's decided by the animation studio. I'm sure they run things by Oda, but I think they have a little bit of autonomy to add a few extra voice lines in here and there, things like that, because otherwise it would speed things up too much. I'm not sure One Piece do too much extra, like completely. They have done a few completely separate filler arcs or episodes to make sure things work out timeline wise. And the last time we talked about One Piece, people were correctly pointing out certain things, and I'm not a full expert on when certain chapters start or the exact year or things like that. But
I also have never I've watched episode 1.
Yeah,
so
and I'm explaining it to someone who hasn't seen any anime at all.
I'm
and everyone's just
asking,
like, this guy says the most obvious thing possible. Yeah, because I have to start ground zero.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Leave me alone.
Tell me.
So I'm not an exact expert, so bear with me. But yeah, in general, there's a few filler arcs. But there's an interesting difference in, for instance, Sanji's character, who's the cook of the crew. He's also like one of the strongest characters. His manga character is probably a little bit more serious and less jokey than he is in the anime version. In the anime version, he has a bit of a trope of being like the power of the group. There's like a kind of long-standing kind of Japanese ongoing running joke where there's one pervert guy who loves all the ladies and gets nosebleeds whenever he sees some big old titties. So like that's his vibe. But they sometimes overdo that to the point of character assassination for me. Okay. Where a lot of people have actually gone, Sanji, why have you done this? I used to love you. But he doesn't do that in the comics. Right. And they've redone his character quite nicely for how to adapt it, because it's not like they port over the perviness from the anime. So they're really allowing each character to be themselves, and I think each one of these main casts have talked to Oda, or at least worked well with the director and things like that, to find their own version of these characters. Yeah. So it's working really well. Like the guy who plays Usopp, which is another really key character, you can tell it's Usopp, but he has his own really funny, cool vibe, and I really like how all of them is just...
From live action wise.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, even the guy that plays Luffy is just Luffy in real life. I think that's
okay.
He acts like him completely. He's
Yeah.
really funny and he's just super endearing. I was like, oh,
It's like I was born for this.
yeah, he really was, mate. He looks like him. He acts like him. It's incredible, and it's not an act. It's genuine. It's a bit like Tom Holland. Like, he's just completely transparent.
Yeah, that's just kind of luck, isn't it? Like, it just falls to you at the right time as well. I was going to say though, because does Oda have that control? You know, like if you're watching Game of Thrones and George R. Martin obviously tells them how it's going to end, but then they have full control of how they adapt his book and see the storyline playing out. They can't go too off.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's the same with this. But does Oda, is he like sitting in this director chair, like on the set going, no.
He might be. I'm not sure how on set he is,
And
but I'm
even
sure
with
he got conversations about how things are going to go. They probably meet with him quite regularly because they have to work with him closely, because it's one of those stories that if you don't get it, it's going to go so badly off piece that it's too big to fail, this franchise. Like, recently, One Piece surpassed Superman as the most sold comic in human history, from one author starting in 98. Thank you for comment section. Wait, not 98.
97.
97.
I remember seeing that.
So
I think
in general, so that's an insane thing to actually happen. And it has such a big cultural influence. Like, there was, I can't remember what organization it was, but quite a big organization or news organization classed One Piece as the most impactful piece of media on Gen Z as an entire generation, because how many
that makes sense, because
revolutions it started,
the timeline of it as
and
well.
the timeline of it. So it needs to be right, but it needs to be its own thing. And you're finding that they are very different viewing experiences, but they're good in their own rights. And I think hopefully we find a place where we get perfect versions of their own little pockets. You can choose where you sit.
Right.
But as powers scale higher and higher, that's what I used to worry about. But apparently in season 2, they've done a good job of making sure they start that scaling now and figure out how they do it in a live action space. Because
I'm sure they must sit down and actually debate this for a long time, because live action takes a lot longer to make, etc.
Yeah.
Right? And then what I was going to say is, I know last time you said that Oda's told like one person the actual ending because...
And he's done it in one other way.
Okay, well, I was going to say, does he have to tell the live action people as well? Because what have that guy done? You know, it's like, what is it?
This is probably why he works
in politics, that you can't... Is designated survivor, is there?
Well, that's like kind of the editor's role. I think I'm not sure if his wife knows as well. Because
do you know what I mean?
There's a little bit of it, but yeah,
they should.
He's only 50 something, so he's all right.
I know, but you never know. What they get on the same bus and the bus crashes together? Do you know what I mean? Oh, you look very sad.
Don't do that.
You know what they should do? They should leave a one piece for, like, in case.
Well, have you seen what he did?
What?
As part of the season 2 release, he wrote down what the One Piece is, put it in a chest, sealed it, and they've dropped it in the middle of the ocean. The One Piece is out there to find right now, and Eiichiro Speed is currently putting together a pirate crew to go and find it.
No way.
Shit you not. And they did this whole announcement video. It's brilliant. And he was like hand writing it out. Obviously you don't see it. Hand writing out, putting it in a chest that looks like One Piece. They put in this like hermetic seal so it would last for hopefully as long as possible. And people are analysing every step of this video to like where they're driving out in the Japanese Gulf. And people are like, okay, I think I've coordinated it to this part of the Gulf. Yeah. And as long as then they're analysing like even the tides to predict where it could have possibly fallen. So I wouldn't be surprised if people find it.
I was going to say they'll find it. It would be all soggy and pitch.
No, it's in like a sealed chest. So it's actually a pirate chest with the One Piece in it, which I think is so unbelievably cool and poetic.
It and he opens it. It's just like the friends you made along the way. I don't know.
It won't be that. And Oda has said in an interview, like it's an actual thing. It's not going to be something metaphoric or annoying.
Yeah,
like that.
You said that
because he's like, I can't do that.
I bet you they didn't. They definitely didn't drop it in the ocean. Yeah. I bet it's in his house.
Well, no, you see in the video, you see it drop. Whether they've taken the thing out of the case, but the actual treasure chest is definitely in the sea. Because you see it dropped in the video. You see the boats taking it out and all this. So it was pretty cool.
Do you think it's actually findable then in real world?
I think that's kind of why they did it.
Or is it
unless
impossible?
It gets sunk by some kind of underwater sinkhole, or I don't know what could happen under there. Freaking megalodon eats it. I don't know.
Imagine they both, touch wood and all sorts. It's just a horrific accident. Both of them designated survivor, both gone, and this One Piece treasure can never be found.
Well, then I suppose Toei and The rest would have to try and finish the story
Just wing
and
it.
make up their own One Piece, but that would be the worst thing on planet Earth.
Would you even want to watch that?
No, I think I'd kill myself.
You might as well do this.
So that'd be the worst. But I think if Eiichiro Speed ever does find it, I know exactly what he's going to do. Because there was
hold on to that
in a One Piece movie. There was basically this giant pirate game between loads of different pirates, and in One Piece there's specific compasses. They're called log poses because the One Piece world past the what's called the Grand Line has a different magnetic field, if you will. So traditional compasses just spin; you can't navigate your way. Log poses like magnetically lock to where the next island is because it works as a strip essentially. At the end of that strip and all the different islands is the One Piece, but most people aren't strong enough to be able to go through all those islands and all that fuckery, right? So
what's
there
Speed
was
gonna do?
in the movie that they did, it was the One Piece Bullet movie, a guy that used to be on the Pirate King's crew had a log pose that takes you straight to the One Piece, and that was like the prize for the pirate game. And at one point Luffy gets hold of it and he just breaks it and he just throws it away. He's like, I ain't doing this to get an easy hack to get there. And I know for a fact if you ever see Eiichiro Speed pull it out, the first thing he's going to do is immediately tear it up. He's not even going to look at it. And if I ever see that moment, a tear will come down my eye. He's Luffy for real? Because he is the closest manifestation we have to Luffy in this world. Speed.
He's Speed.
Yeah. Genuinely, he's such a wholesome guy. Like
I love
he's undone about 20 years of like anti-China and anti-Africa propaganda by just going and visiting these places. And just showing what the people are like, man. He does such good for the world, and he just has fun wherever he goes.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's just him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he puts it on a little bit, to be honest. Though,
I mean, you have to. This is the world of the internet. You've got to put a character on slightly just to get the attentions and clicks and a couple of backflips. But overall, his net good is.
Well, there's a reason why people love him. Because
he is, and that's kind of what Luffy's like in the story. To be fair, goes around, has a bunch of fun, makes people smile, liberates you from a horrific dictatorship along the way. If you offer him a slab of meat, then he'll just get in there and get stuck in, mate.
He's a hungry boy. Yeah, I watched the first episode. That was the first thing. He's like, "Where's the food?"
Yeah, straight up. He's just hungry, man. So yeah, it means a lot to me, man. It's good stuff. But it's all tracking well for the One Piece live action, and I'm hopeful.
How many seasons do you reckon?
I have no idea how many they'll end up being because
you know
it depends on how many arcs they fit in per season.
Is it a season per arc or is it like 3 seasons per arc?
Differently because
there'll be a lot
I'm going
missing.
off of what I've seen in trailers. I need to watch it because I'm just putting out fake news right now.
I've got another question about it as well. Because it's such an in-depth story and it's all about this eventual...
Yeah, the world building.
Yeah, to get to the end and find the One Piece. Mm-hmm. You know the whole point before the One Piece, and who's the guy that left it?
Pirate King.
Yeah.
Goldie Roger. Yeah.
Is there like backstories to him? Like not within it, but is there actually like dedicated seasons or like mangas for him? Or
there's fairly like in-depth flashbacks
because it's so.
Because there's a lots of cast of characters that happened before then. So you look at they describe it in kind of generations. So that was the kind of first or greatest generation of pirates, because the thing that kicked off the real pirate boom that we know in the story now is from Gold Roger saying, "My treasure's out there, go find it," and it's inspired loads of piracy. So that's a thing. But beforehand, it was
pretty niche.
Kind of. That it was just kind of more monopolised by very strong people, who then there was lots of different bits and bobs going on, and there's also the whole world government angle. It's hard to cover this stuff without getting into spoiler territory, but they do flash back a lot to Roger's past life. You meet his right hand man, probably about halfway through the story, who gives a lot of insight. At one point, he's just like, "Oh, I can tell you what the One Piece is," and he's like, "Don't do that. Don't spoil it for me."
Yeah.
So he's pretty cool. The Dark King Rayleigh, his name is. So he's pretty fucking.
So you don't think there'd be like prequels and stuff after?
I think there will be. Yeah,
that makes sense. That's what I was going to say.
Because everyone wants to see certain characters. So Luffy's granddad, who you'll meet in season 1, is the hero of the Navy, Monkey D. Garp, and he was a straight dog. Man, there's a reason they call him the hero of the Navy. So he's like some of the strongest of the strongest, and I think there would be such a cool series.
Yeah,
him in his prime. Whoa. One of the things we'll see after this current arc, or even during it, is something called the God Valley incident, which is one of the major incident inflection points of the entire show, and what we'll really find out what happened. That because Garp and the Pirate King had to team up against an even scarier crew, and without getting into spoilers, I can't say what happened, but that is a major thing of what happened to even get where we are, and the fact that those two had to work together, pretty insane and poetic. It's pretty sick, dude.
That's the thing with these, developed stories, and they go so in depth with the.
Yeah,
there's like, no end to it, is there? You can go far back, and people are still just in the.
It's very much like
the timeline of this.
It's like trying to describe the Odyssey midway through, or like Lord of the Rings, but starting from the Silmarillion. It's really hard.
There's loads. There's so much you can go into. But yeah, that'll be cool then. So is it out already, or is that?
Yeah, I think it's out already. Chilling, killing, doing well. So go out and watch it, people. I wish they should sponsor us.